You're watching Beyond Your Backyard Now with Erik The Travel Guy for Monday, May 4th, 2020.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Aaron Sega. Welcome to the program. I am Erik The Travel Guy. It is May 4th, episode 5. May the 4th be with you. Help us, COVID-19 vaccine. You're our only hope. If you've not watched the program before, this is an entire hour of programming dedicated to where to go, what to do, where to stay on your next vacation, whenever that next vacation may occur. We just don't know yet. We're all in this together. And simply, it's for people who can't afford to get their next vacation wrong. I would be one of those people, the travel team, everybody who works on this show. We're really thinking a lot about that. And you know, it's not just about the places themselves. And we're going to spend more time talking about this as more states open up and lift those restrictions. We're going to start thinking about, and the travel industry is going to put forth more messaging on how we're going to take those trips. Of course, we're going to bring you to some amazing places around the world, even today, which leads me to the 1051, which we'll get to that in just a second. I can't wait to tell you who's on the show, so we're going to get to that too. But again, you're going to see more of this information coming out from the travel industry. And what I mean by that is destinations themselves, the airlines, the car rental agencies, lodging, trains, cruises. All those companies are going to really start to put forth their plans on how are you going to safely take those trips. Whether that's later on this summer, fall, even into next year, what is our new normal going to be in travel? So we are going to talk more about that on this program. But this week, you may not be aware of this, but I've decided that, and I spoke with the team about this week, and I've decided it's Grateful Week. Yes, it is Grateful Week because we are all in our isolation and we're all, you know, every now and again tend to get a little reflective, myself certainly included in that group of people. And so perhaps this week you too will start to think about it if you haven't already. And I will tell you right off the bat, I am very grateful for the fact that this pandemic hasn't personally affected someone in my immediate family. My children are happy and healthy and being carefully watched over by their mom. My ex-wife is happy and healthy and not being affected by this virus, at least physically, which is really great. So I'm very grateful for that. Of course, my family members, my brothers and my sister and my friends. That's another thing that I'm very grateful for is that, you know, this time at the house, we have a little more free time on our hands. So I've been able to connect with some old friends, and I'm sure you have too. I Zoom, you know, with Michael Palmer and Jason and Max and some really cool people in my life that I'm able to spend time with, at least digitally, for the time. And I know it sounds corny, but I'm actually very grateful for not just the people who work on this program. I mean, look, this pandemic has affected us financially in every way. With Erik the Travel Guy and Beyond Your Backyard, the PBS series, it really has. And so the folks that work on this show, I'm very grateful for that because they do a lot of hard work. And I'm also equally as grateful to you for watching. You know, here we are, episode 5, and we started this show in the middle of a worldwide health pandemic, a travel show nonetheless. And so I'm very grateful that you comment and that you subscribe to the channel and you ask questions and you share it with your friends. I think that's really good. One of the easiest ways to do so, by the way, so it's Grateful Week. There we go. We covered that. One of the easiest ways to comment is our question of the day, and here it is. And it's a good one too because May 6th is National Travel Advisor Day, which is in just a couple of days. Have you used a certified travel advisor lately? If so, how was your experience? And you can make those comments on our YouTube channel, and please do, because everyone that comments on our YouTube channel, well, you're eligible to win a $250 gift card to restaurant.com. There's a lot going on. As I said, you're going to see more news stories coming in from the travel industry. It's Cinco de Mayo tomorrow, May 4th, of course, being today. Mother's Day is this weekend, so it's not too late to get something for mom. Maybe make a card. That would be fine. I realized you're a grown adult, but go ahead, make one and send it off to her. My mother passed away a few years ago, but I'm grateful for the fact that, you know, she's up in heaven, looking down while eating Cheetos, I'm sure. All right, I have to tell you who's on the program today because it really is focused on well, where to go, what to do, and where to stay, and how to do so safely. So if you're wondering what a staycation is, we're going to define that for you today, and we're going to help you take one of those while we're still in isolation. We're going to give you an update on the lodging business from Cornell University, from their School of Hospitality Management, I believe it is. Chris, really smart guy. We're headed down to Cozumel today. I'm going to show you one of my favorite restaurants in Cozumel, so that's going to be today. We're also headed to Happy Valley, Pennsylvania. Hello, who doesn't want to go to Happy Valley? So it's a big program, and I thought we'd start with just a little bit of inspiration to get us in the travel mood. Take a look. I could watch that piece, well I do, I watch that piece almost every day. I absolutely love that piece. Which leads me to the 10, 5, and 1. If you didn't know, within this episode and every episode we cover at least 10 destinations, at least 5 travel tips, and 1 sort of prevailing thought of the week. I have a feeling it's going to have something to do with gratefulness. All right, but how are you going to take these trips and how are you going to do it safely? Well, Chris Anderson is here. He is a professor with the School of Hospitality Management at Cornell University. He's Zooming now. Chris, good to meet you, man.
Did I get all of that correct?
You did. Great. Thanks, Eric.
It's my pleasure. Listen, I'm just trying to read the teleprompter. You know, sometimes it's a challenge. You know, we're certainly living in, I wouldn't say unprecedented times, but certainly some strange days for the lodging industry, wouldn't you say?
You know, strange is sort of an understatement. You mean?
Yeah, you know, and again, I don't want to do too much inside baseball here, but we're talking about the lodging industry, and we just kind of throw that term out like it's just like a line item on some spreadsheet. But you're talking about millions of hotel rooms.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not just the hotel rooms, right? So you also have the alternative accommodation space, so Airbnb, that kind of space. But then you have all the sort of food and beverage that supports those hotel rooms, right? So it's not just the rooms themselves, it's that whole periphery that sort of lives and dies by those visitors, right? I mean, Las Vegas is a classic example of a city that is just all about inbound, you know, leisure and business traffic that, I mean, that's just all gone, right? Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. What do you think it's going to take for us to feel safe and comfortable to stay in a hotel room again?
So, you mean, so from the data that I'm looking at, you know, people are starting to sort of research and look at hotel stays about 90 days out, right? So here in the US, sort of late summer stays, right? And so I think people already have a sense of when it's going to be safe to go on a vacation or travel, right? And so at some level, I mean, hotels have always done a great job of keeping rooms clean and guests safe, right? They're going to go the extra step. We've heard lots about electrostatic sprayers and UV, and you know, Marriott came out with some PR around what they're going to do. So the hotels are going to be very upfront about the incremental efforts they're going to take.
There may be what could, for good reason, be perceived as extra steps or inconveniences. is the public going to tolerate that? Are they going to be okay with these extra measures, i.e. more things they're going to have to do just to stay at a lodging establishment?
So I think on the hotel side, what we're going to see is removal of a lot of the, guest to guest potential interactions, right? So with that, I mean, we're going to have a lot more, mobile check-in, check-out, keyless entry into rooms, all that technology that is there, but really has been slow to be adopted because we like that human touch.
Chris, hold on. Are you basically saying that all of us are now going to have to actually learn how to use our smartphones that we don't really know how to use now past 5 or 6 different functions? Is that what I'm hearing here?
I think we're going to sort of expedite the adoption of a lot of that technology that's already there, that for, some people love it because they don't necessarily need all that interaction, but others, they don't travel a lot. Maybe they want that, comfort of that interaction. I think a lot of that is just going to go away, and this is going to expedite the adoption of some of that technology. So no mini bars, no buffets. So all those old touch points where there was potential person-to-person communication, that's, not physically, not talking, but communication of bacteria or viruses, that is going to get stripped out.
Are hotels and resorts ever going to be clean enough for the American public?
So, I definitely think so. Lodging has always done a great job of, because it is so competitive, right? So first and foremost, hotels, it's not like they're all owned by Marriott or owned by Hilton. They're all owned by individual franchisees.
First of all, there is a price to all of this. There is a cost to all of this. The hotel industry, the lodging industry has been around a very long time. And frankly, they've gotten really good at revenue management, some better than others. But is it going to cost more to stay at a hotel in the next 90 days?
So the one thing you can be sure of, it's going to be really inexpensive to stay, right, in the short term, right?
Yep.
So, the hotels always, the aggregate occupancy in the United States in a sort of peak period is like 65%, right? So there's always surplus hotel rooms, right? Some really peak demand days, capacity is tight, but for the most part, there's surplus hotel rooms. Now that's just like, that's on speed, right? We've got so many extra hotel rooms, and hotels are going to be competing for those revenues to basically pay their mortgages, right?
Right.
And so I definitely think we're going to see a drop in prices. And so I don't think in the short term, any of that extra cost we're going to see in the cost of a hotel stay, right?
So because we're essentially talking about a commodity here, or at least in the hearts and minds of a consumer, is the place clean? Is it in the place I'm going? Whether I recognize the brand or not, does it have a minimum service standard that I'm looking for? But price a lot of times drives these decisions in terms of, I'm just looking for someplace cheap, I'm just looking for someplace inexpensive, however they want to define it in their own minds. And of course, the brands have a lot to say about that too. They push out that kind of messaging. Look at the Marriott portfolio brands, or Hilton or IHG to begin with. They've got options for you. But at the end of the day, what can people be looking at now to say, yeah, I have loyalty with this brand, or I have loyalty with that brand, or I see a price point at this brand? What could they be looking for and looking out for in terms of a checklist for health and safety in their upcoming travels? Does that question make sense? I'm trying to get in the Guinness Book of World Records for the longest question ever, and I think we're well on our way with that one. Wow, but do you understand my point a little bit here, what I'm dealing with here? Because I think if what you're saying is correct, or at least in the ballpark of a 90-day, I'm thinking about it in this kind of time frame, what should I be looking for from these brands to help ease my mind here?
So, I think the things we're going to be looking for is some removal of previous consumer-to-consumer touch points, right? So you're no longer going to have a stocked mini bar, right? It's just too easy to have, person-to-person contact there, right? So I think there's going to be a few key services that, we've historically sort of come to expect, high touch parts of that are going to be in the short term removed, because we're just trying to remove a lot of those contact points.
I wonder if we're going to see an uptick in RV sales and rentals. I wonder.
Yeah, so for me, the one that's kind of up in the air is like the alternative accommodation space, right? So the short-term rental, the Airbnbs of the world, because at some level, a lot of that accommodation is outside of dense areas. So I'm removing some sort of the density of person-to-person contact, but then I'm adding in this dimension of unknown: who stayed there last, how was it turned over.
I'm telling you,
There's-
this,
yeah.
first of all, this is the problem with having smart people on the program. This is the problem, is that now you've introduced an entire new subject. Would you come back and talk about that? Because I can tell you right now, I'd love to do 10 minutes on, well, is it going to be a hotel that you know or an Airbnb, the brand Airbnb that you may know, but the accommodations found within you don't. Can we talk about that
Right.
on your future visit?
Sure, definitely. Because Airbnb is kind of in this pickle right now, right? Because they really sort of annoyed a lot of their hosts with their cancellation policy,
And that's an
right?
understatement, to say the least.
Right. They kept consumers happy, but then for now them to come in from the top and sort of talk about what kind of sanitation sort of consistency you have, and sort of be this sort of over the top sort of control, I can't see that happening, right? So yeah, we can definitely talk. We could talk about that for the whole afternoon.
And yeah, we can bore people to death, the two of us talking about it for at least an hour. So Chris, thank you for doing this, and I really appreciate the information, man.
Okay, take care.
Well, while we're at home, what's a staycation? How are you going to take one? That is next on Beyond Your Backyard Now. Stay with us. Thank you very much. The show rolls on for May 4th, 2020. I am Erik the Travel Guy. May the 4th be with you. Talk about travel to another universe. My goodness, you could do that just by watching those movies from the comfort of your own home, which may lead you to ask the question, what exactly is a staycation? Well, I am here to help. First of all, this word really wasn't introduced and coined until about 2008, after the recession of 2008. So it makes a lot of sense where people were tightening their vacation belts and maybe staying a little closer to home. So it's a relatively new word, a very new word as a matter of fact. But if you look around at the definitions from Wikipedia, dictionary.com, and other sources, you'll find variations of the same definition. Well, here is our definition of a staycation. We'll put it up on the screen. Here we go. So to us, a staycation is a vacation or short-term getaway which may include travel within 90 minutes of your primary residence. A staycation may include one or more overnight stays away from home. And it's really that last sentence that's provocative, because that's where the different opinions come into play within our own industry, whether or not an overnight stay should be included in the definition of a staycation. I believe it could, because I believe it should stay there, because you may or may not spend the night on a staycation. I think of someone in central New Jersey, perhaps, or out on Long Island, or northern Jersey. They come into the city, New York City, that is, and, well, they may go home at the end of the day, or they may not. Either way, I think that's still a staycation. And seeing as though we're all being told we need to stay at home for now, you may be taking one of these staycations and need some ideas. That's why the senior lifestyle editor from Insider is here, Chloe Pentazzi-Wolber. Chloe, it's nice to meet you, and thank you for being here.
Yeah, nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
You really do have a pretty cool job. Let's face it, we get to talk about the best lifestyle ever and travel. But we need to talk about staycations a little bit. I know you happen to have done a lot of work on this subject matter. How do you define what a staycation is?
Well, right now, I think the definition of staycation is a bit more limited than what we might have thought of as a staycation before.
Right.
So a staycation, let's say pre-pandemic, would have been staying within your area, maybe your state, or just going somewhere, maybe a 2-3 hour drive away. For some people who are really adventurous and love international travel frequently, a staycation for them might just be staying in the US. But right now, a staycation is staying home, and it's the best thing we can be doing. So there are plenty of ways that you can have a staycation, or at least have that vacation feeling while you're at home.
Well, I think that's the perfect subject matter, because once again, we just don't know the timing of all of this yet. Obviously health is of the concern, but how do we have a staycation? Help us out here. What do we do? We're all here at the house.
Yeah, well, thankfully my team at Insider has written a ton on this topic. So there are a number of things you can do. One thing I've personally been loving is trying new recipes, shaking up a cocktail, kind of traveling through food and drink, which I'm sure a lot of people are doing right now. You could make an Aperol Spritz. You could take a cooking class with a nonna in Italy on Airbnb and feel like you're transported to Tuscany. You can make pierogi, or and feel like you're in Poland, or make a mojito and feel like you're in Havana. There are a number of resources online. There are so many virtual classes. Masterclass is a great resource that you can make a new hobby out of food and drink. You could also, if you're really a couch potato right now, and totally fine, you should be, you could watch a movie that transports you somewhere else as well. Before Sunrise is great in Vienna. You could watch Under the Tuscan Sun, or even just read a book about travel. I love Crazy Rich Asians, the book and the movie. So much to do.
All right, so we're talking about both of these things, because once again, what I like about this idea of saying, you know what, tonight we're going to do Peruvian night, and really look at that recipe, and let that recipe be, your foundation for, let's talk about the culture, downloading 10 facts on that particular culture and why those flavors are present, and having that conversation, just talking about that particular destination. I think that's a wonderful idea, because again, a lot of people watching are like, I can't cook worth a darn. I don't know. It's okay. Even if you have a tapas night, it doesn't have to be Spanish tapas. You could have an appetizer night. You could do. So there's so many ways to go with something that we all have to do. Probably should do a little less of, but let's be honest. We're working with what we're working with. The second being the movies. I think that's a phenomenal way to, look at the James Bond movies alone. They're famous for that. They're famous for going places in those movies.
Totally. And also, if you're not a cook, you could just do what I do a lot and shouldn't, which is get takeout. And that is a vacation in itself, honestly.
Yeah, it's true. But again, it's something. It's sort of re-examining that whole idea of like, of course, we can get takeout now. You live in New York City. A lot of people watching don't have those kinds of resources. But even to say, you know what, I'm going to try a new menu item at the Italian place. I'm going to try. But really talking about the difference between those sauces in Italy and why those flavors are different. Northern Italy is different than Southern Italy, or maybe you're doing, Sardinia and what they're doing. I think that's a really cool way to work with what you're working with.
Totally. And there's also a ton, not just with food and drink, like there's also wine courses, which I would also recommend. But you can also take virtual tours just of places on your bucket list. I know it's not a substitute, but it will get you excited about future trips. And it's a great way to spend your time rather than sitting and watching the same Netflix show every night, like I have been. You could sit and live stream the Northern Lights in Manitoba. You can tour the Palace of Versailles. There are so many things that you can do. Even the Egyptian pyramids have a live stream. So the options are pretty endless.
There's some school of thought, someone might say, well, gee, if I take a virtual tour, do we even have to go there someday? And of course, I think you and I mean, you laugh at that subject. I mean, just the idea of like, of course you do. There's no substitution for going there. But what I like and what I'm hearing from you is, while we can't go there, you can still go there.
Yeah, and I think it's also just a different habit. Like a lot of people staying indoors might be having a tough time or feeling anxious. And I think that travel, while it's something that we shouldn't be doing unless it's essential right now, it can really serve a purpose and make us feel better and give us a good distraction. I've really been enjoying the stories from my team about, like, you can go on roller coasters at Disney. You can make some, one of our reporters, Amanda Krause, just made the Rice Krispie treats you can get at Disney parks. Another reporter, Rachel Askenazi, made the Dole Whip that you can get to the park. So there are so many things, and if you have kids, that the Disney Parks blog is fantastic. There are so many resources on there, and just loads of fun ways to kind of make every day feel like a vacation.
Well, we really enjoy the writing. We obviously love the articles. We love the practicality of the things that you talk about, not just with the aspirational value, but of course with the educational. Taking a look at these articles, we're posting some of them there, and then of course we'll put that in the show notes as well. Keep it up, because this is what we're working with these days till we get back on the road. So Chloe, thank you for doing this. Thank you for being here.
Totally. Thank you so much, Eric. It was a pleasure.
May 6th is National Travel Advisor Day, and you may not know that, but there you go. That's coming up this week, which leads me to the question of the day. Have you used a certified travel advisor lately? If so, how was your experience? Please feel free to leave your comments in the comment section on YouTube. And yes, please subscribe to the channel. Those subscriptions count to us. Of course, it's free, and all of your comments count as well. Share it with a friend. Put it up on your Facebook page. We'd really appreciate that. And that being said, if you make a comment on our YouTube channel, every comment that you make enters you to win a $250 gift card to restaurant.com. We're doing that again this week. And this whole staycation idea is a really good idea to be thinking about, especially now for maybe later on in the summer, maybe late summer. And it all depends upon where you are, of course. But staycations to me are places that you can get to with relative ease, maybe not including air travel. Places like Salem, Massachusetts, Burlington, Vermont, or Stowe, Vermont, Buffalo, New York, or Ithaca, or Niagara Falls, depending upon the National Park Service. And going south, maybe Stanton, Virginia is an excellent option, Washington, D.C., or Baltimore. So again, these places that, with a rule of thumb, again, depending upon where you live, can you get to them within about 90 minutes or 2 hours? Because I believe you could drive for 90 minutes, do an experience for the day in a different destination, and still drive home at night. Now, one of the places that you are probably not going to be able to drive to, well, I say probably, you can't, you need to take at the very least a boat, a ship, or an airplane, is Cozumel, Mexico. And in celebration of Cinco de Mayo, I thought I would take you down to one of my favorite restaurants, La Mission. The Mayan influence is in the cooking, if I have it right?
Yeah, it's true. All the Mayas need to came one time in their life to Cozumel to visit the San Gervasio area.
Yep.
For example, we are tasting a lime soup.
Chicken soup and lime.
Yeah, that is a traditional soup in the Yucatan area.
We eat like the Mayans do. That's what we do. Light, flavorful, not overpowering. This is a Mayan lime.
Yeah, this is the Mayan lime.
You know, to me, it looks like a key lime.
Yeah, it's different. You can cut
Yeah.
and you taste.
Yeah. The color, you can tell the color is different.
Yeah, all is different. You can taste is between sweet and acid.
Yeah, you could taste the sweetness.
Yeah.
Surprisingly. Oh my gosh. Do we know much about what the Mayans ate? There's a lot of information?
It can be grouper, it can be red snapper, chocolate, honey.
Yep.
Cheers.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
I would like to know the secret to making the best guacamole.
The secrets, we don't have secrets. Well, I think so. He is tasting during the process of making the guacamole. Someone like more spicy, with more onion or with more tomato. Someone likes only natural, only the avocado.
Just a simple.
Yeah, the simple. Also remember, in Mexico we have the Lion Mexican. When someone asks if it's spicy, not spicy, be careful because always it's spicy. Because they have habanero.
I have a steel stomach. It's not a problem. You are correct. It's spicy.
I told you. And this is a mixed ceviche, is fish and shrimp.
Fish and shrimp.
Yep.
Everything we've had so far is very simple preparation. It's not complicated.
No. The food is easy to prepare. All the ingredients are natural and are locals. We have the benefit that we are near the sea and all the seafood is fresh. It's from the region. And you can see the fishermen came with the catch of the day and they bring to the kitchen.
Does the menu change?
No, in 35 years the menu is the same.
No.
Yeah. The fish is local and all the tastes are from the region.
Oh, come on. Who's going to eat all this?
This is a king crab, and it's from Cozumel. It's simple. You make seafood soup. You put the king crab and boil.
I love the temperature. The airflow in here is perfect. The flavor, the soap. What did you do to it?
It's fresh. The difference between the food is that it's fresh. That is, this king crab was in the sea like 12 hours before you arrive.
Yeah.
We have our warranty in the menu. That is, if you don't like, you don't pay.
Do people take you up on this?
Well, I have in 35 years there are like 10 persons. I think that we have the best clients. For example, is your second, third time in?
Third.
Your third time in
In
La
this
Mission.
restaurant, yeah.
We sell the same flavor that you taste years before. And remember you when you came with the first time, second time,
parents,
or with your parents, or with your grandpa.
But Cozumel has its own unique feeling. It has its own vibe from the rest of Mexico, and dare I say, from the rest of the Quintana Roo. I mean, you go up and down, you know, the Riviera Maya, and you'll feel that there's a spirit there but when you come here, it's different. Don't you think?
We are a small town.
Yeah.
We are still like 80,000
Not big.
neighbors.
Yep.
And we have a long traditions about, and our tradition mixed with the tourists. The high season are with the carnival, are with the several festivals. They are the foundation of Cozumel. Playa del Carmen, they don't have, or they lose their customs.
Yeah.
They have a nightlife. The customers that came to Cozumel, they want to get rest. You see our nightlife is more quiet than other places. And you have interaction with the locals in Cozumel. For example, Cancun, they have a tourist area
Right. That's
and
it.
locals area.
Right. That's true. What is this?
Chicken chick. It's a traditional Maya fish.
What's the spice? The prevailing spice here?
Achote.
Achote.
Yeah. We make with some chiles.
Got it.
And we mix and we cover the fish with onion, pepper, and tomato.
Look at this little fish eye.
The fish eye you can eat. Yeah.
You can eat all in there. Oh my gosh, look at this. It's so light. How long did this cook for?
It will be like 15, 20 minutes.
That's it.
Yeah.
What are they most surprised by in Cozumel when they come for the first time?
If you come, for example, here from the airport, you make 10 minutes, 5
Yeah.
minutes.
That's it.
I think that is the dream of every traveler in the world. That you
It's
can
certainly
take
mine.
Now we are going to have the sexy coffee. It's coffee with vanilla ice cream, brandy, Istaventun, and Kahlua.
There's a word I would use to describe that. That would be magical.
Yeah, it's a magical.
Oh, look at this. Did you invent this?
Well, my father say that he invents that. He say that he takes from the Irish coffee. He was looking for local things, and he changed sour cream for ice cream,
For the
vanilla ice cream.
Yeah.
And changed the liquors from Mexico, or well, brandy, and
Yep.
also the Kahlua is from the region.
Do you make it here or no? You
Well,
get-
yeah, we make here.
No. The ice cream?
Yeah. Mexico is a big country, and each region has his tradition and his ingredients.
So you can have a little bit of Mayan history.
Yeah.
And a little bit of La
the-
Mission
Yeah, of
history.
course.
Right here with this dessert. Tom, thank you for this. It's perfect. Now we know.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Literally, I can taste that food as we are sharing this time together, and I haven't been there in a year, and my gosh, I love La Mission. All right, upcoming, we're going to Happy Valley, Pennsylvania, and we're going to get a bigger update on the Caribbean as well, sort of a larger picture of what's going on in the Caribbean. Beyond Your Backyard now continues. Stay with us. Oh, I love this quote. Stella's the best. If you didn't see that interview, go back and take a look at it on our YouTube channel. It is phenomenal. Stella, I have a feeling she's going to be on the show again. She is awesome. All right, it's time to hit the open road. Let's do this. Fritz Smith is here. He's the executive director of the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau. He's zooming now. Fritz, good to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you as well, Eric. We've chatted on the phone, but nice to do this face to face.
Yeah, now, Fritz, I was told that 2020 was going to be a banner tourism year and a banner year for travel, and yet here we are, and this is some unprecedented, crazy times we're going through. How you holding up out there?
Well, we're holding up pretty well here. I mean, this is I feel fortunate. I've spent much of my career in urban places, and now I'm in a beautiful mountainous area with a lot of great, beautiful outdoor nature, and it's a good place to sort of ride out the storms, if you will.
Well, and I was thinking, the guys and I were talking about in our planning meeting, we were talking about, well, where do we want to go? What do we want to talk about? And we said, well, we got to go to the Happy Valley. I mean, we need happiness more so today than we need it any other day. So Fritz, you're it, man. You're Mr. Happy out there.
Well, this is the place to be. Come to Happy Valley. Not just yet, but we'll be ready for you soon.
That's right. Tomorrow will come. We're not sure when tomorrow's going to show up, but it will be here. We need to talk geography. Exactly where are we in the state of Pennsylvania? Let's start there.
Well, Happy Valley is, as you said, exactly in the middle of Pennsylvania. We are in Center County, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Which if you pick up a map of the state, it is literally just exactly in the middle. The center point of Pennsylvania is in a town called Aaronsburg, sort of the southeast corner of Center County. Center County is the 5th largest county in Pennsylvania from a landmass standpoint. For people who have not been here or aren't familiar with it, they certainly know about Penn State.
Right.
And Penn State, our state university, is sort of the anchor of the community, located in the town of State College, right in the middle of the state.
Right there. Now, and for those that don't know, and we talk about this all the time on this program, we're talking about the official Tourism Bureau. Of course, you're not going to have anything negative to say about your place, but let's be clear, the official Tourism Bureau, your job is to help equip people with the best, latest, and greatest information about what to do, what to see, where to stay, where you're going to eat. I mean, your whole existence is to help people become better informed travelers long before they ever get there, right?
Yes, and we're still doing that. We're still planting the seeds of future travel. We're constantly updating content on our website, happyvalley.com. One of the activities that you can do is take nice walks or runs or bike rides in many of the state parks that populate this area. We've got 6 great state parks here.
But one of the coolest things that you guys have got going for you, and where I was going with that, is that you do have 4 distinct seasons. So when we talk about options about coming to visit, I know it sounds like a softball, but you kind of put the pieces together. You say, okay, Central Pennsylvania. That means obviously looking gorgeous in the summertime, and we might be able to get a trip in before school starts. But if you don't, you've got fall and you've got winter, and of course you've got spring. So I would imagine that is does your peak season kind of go around the school year, or is it more the opposite? How do you guys define it?
Yeah, our peak season is the fall when the students come back. You got sort of a perfect confluence of the students are back, Penn State football. Of course, we always have a very, very good team. What we do want to get people to do is, if they come to those games, to consider staying for a day or 2 afterwards, not get into the traffic heading back to Harrisburg, Philadelphia, or Pittsburgh, or other points.
You know what? I'm really glad you mentioned that very point, because again, it's funny to hear you even say, listen, we don't necessarily encourage people to come during those periods of time, because there are a lot of people here and a lot of people take up hotel rooms, and they're using infrastructure. They're there obviously for the game. But the cool part is, if that's something that you want to do, now is the time to be planning it, or you need to plan ahead a little bit more than you normally would.
Absolutely. Summer's a great time to come, and we love the students at Penn State, but because the majority of them head home, of course, it's a year-round campus. The majority of the student population in a typical year heads home during the summer, and so those hotel rooms that you mentioned can be had for a good bit, significantly less than it would cost during football season.
Well, and that's, again, we start piecing this trip together. I think to myself, well, gee, we've got, seasonality to work with, which is good. And especially in the time that we're working with here, you have something else going for you, which is you got a lot of space to work with. We don't really know what the new normal of our traveling life is going to be like. Maybe they'll finally get rid of the middle seat on the airplane. We've been asking for decades. Maybe the airlines will finally get rid of it. We just don't know. But you've got space to work with, so you're able to spread out a little bit and still make it a really beneficial and rewarding trip, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think in the post-COVID-19 environment, I guess that's going to become a term soon, COVID, and I think it will change behavior. And I think that we as a destination are perfectly positioned for that. Just a great place to go fly fishing, to go hiking, to ride your bike. This is one of the reasons that people who move to this community like it, because you've got sort of the combination of an urban environment with State College and all the amenities, shows that a community like that, writers, famous writers coming to speak, concerts at the Bryce Jordan Center. So you've got sort of those urban amenities, but within a couple of minutes, you can be out in the country and out in some of the freshest air in the United States and some of the most beautiful scenery. And so you've got sort of that perfect combination of urban and country.
Well, and listen, I realize you're not my personal travel agent, but let's face it, it's my own show. I can do whatever I want, Fritz. But here's my biggest problem I think I'm going to have here is help me with a personality profile that says, gee, I might get bored. What do you tell them?
I think that's not possible here. I don't. First of all, getting bored is a matter of personality. I worked in the New York market for quite some time, and I would often talk to travelers, visitors who were bored, by the third or the fourth day. Said, well, what else is there to do? I saw the skyscrapers.
Right.
But I think it's what you make of it. But I think the diversity here is going to keep you interested. I think people don't know that we've got a first-class museum. Palmer Museum of Art is a great experience, and I think art lovers from Philadelphia and New York, Pittsburgh would be surprised at the quality of art there. I think that I mentioned fly fishing before. President Jimmy Carter used to come here to go fly fishing. We have a national reputation, really an international reputation, being one of the best places in the country for that.
That's cool.
Penn's Cave and Wildlife Park out in the southeast corner of our county is a terrific attraction. It's an indoor cave that you take a water ride through, and children just light up when they do that. And then they can take a ride through the animal park, see all sorts of great animals, and it's just a terrific experience.
Yeah.
There's a lot of history here. In the town of Boalsburg, we're one of, and I realize there are multiple places who make this claim, but we're going to stake our claim that it is the home of birthplace of Memorial Day. There's a military museum just across from the cemetery there. There's a place called Bowl Chapel that is, and Columbus House that has got artifacts from the Columbus family that have been stored for centuries.
That's
just
cool.
a fascinating place. You could spend days in that town.
Well,
there's just this sort of relaxed feeling. There's just this sort of calm when you get here. It's a place that welcomes visitors, but it doesn't feel touristy.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
I think that's really part of the appeal of the destination.
Well, here's the problem. I mean, the schedule is already, is what it is, but it sounds like we're just going to have to make our way out there and get the camera box out and take some more of these pictures. I know we've been seeing them during this interview, but we may just have to do that personally later on in the year. How about we do that?
That sounds good. I want to make sure you partake of the Spirits Trail. We've got Pennsylvania, as you know, has great wineries, great beer brewers, and great distilleries.
Yep.
And we have those in abundance, but we find that in other places, those three segments sort of work on their own path. And here they've all come together and work together to create a spirits trail that you can find out more about on our website, happyvalley.com. And I think you've got to get all your boxes checked on that trail when you come and visit.
I think I can do that. I mean, I'm calling my kitchen to dining room to living room my own personal spirits trail.
That's the spirits trail.
Which, but we'll get through that too. Fritz, thank you for doing this today. Will you come back and visit?
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're looking forward to seeing you up in Happy Valley very soon.
Oh my gosh. And the show's not even over. We have another segment. You're going to love this. We're going to get an update on the Caribbean. And I'm going to introduce you to someone. We were sent a video this week. Oh my gosh. Jimmy One Place or Johnny One Town. I don't know what it's called, but wow. It's coming up. Stay with us. It's Beyond Your Backyard Now.
It's time for coffee. It's time for tea.
Well, it's travel tip number 70. It is a personal favorite of mine because it deals with subject matter that I absolutely love. As a matter of fact, I have this to prove it. We're talking about hiring a personal chef during your next vacation, or at the very least, taking a group cooking class. It's an easy thing to do. Check with your local tourism bureau and they will help you hire your own personal chef for your vacation. As the show rolls on in the remaining moments, there's our question of the day. Have you used a certified travel advisor lately? If so, how was your experience? As you know, May 6th is National Travel Advisor Day. You may not know, but, well, you do now. And it's Grateful Week here on the program. We're celebrating things that we are grateful for. Perhaps you've jotted down a few ideas. You can share that in the comments. Sure, go right ahead, put it there. Say, you know what, Eric, I'm grateful that you exist. Whatever it is, put it in the comments there on YouTube, because every person that comments on YouTube, every one of those comments, you get automatically registered to win a $250 gift card to restaurant.com, which is exactly what Rose Fire Life. I don't know if that's her real name. If that is your real name, Rose, I'm sure it's not. It's either Rose Fire Life or Rose for Life. She said she loved the Redlands, California video we posted. So you, Rose, get a $250 gift card to restaurant.com. That is good for takeout and delivery. Some restrictions apply. So thank you very much for commenting. I am grateful for your commentary. As you know, every Monday at 4 o'clock, that is when we release a brand new episode of Beyond Your Backyard. And every day at 4 o'clock, we release a new video on YouTube. So again, subscribing really helps that situation quite a bit. And you will be inspired, because one of the places we love to talk about is the Caribbean. That's why Alex, the founder of Caribbean Journal, is here with us this week. I can't wait for you to meet him. He's Zooming with us. Alex, good to see you again, my friend.
Thanks for having me, Eric.
Well, I know, from last week to this week, certainly some of our viewers have gone on the website. But for those who haven't, what can people expect when they show up at CaribbeanJournal.com?
Sure. So Caribbean Journal is the largest website in the world covering Caribbean travel. So we focus on travel and tourism. We have a newsletter that goes out every day of the week, 365 days a year. It might be news, it might be features about experiences, it might be videos about beaches, as you've seen. We do rum, we do tourism news, we do interviews. So it's really sort of an all-encompassing look at the travel industry, whether you're a traveler or you work in the hotel industry.
By the way, I'm surprised you didn't choose the Arctic Circle. Of course you chose.
That was number 2, actually. It was neck and neck.
Right under. Very good. I mean, because and I know we're seeing some of these images too, but even just to say the word Caribbean is instant vacation, relaxation.
It's true. We had a former minister of tourism who coined a great phrase, which was that the Caribbean is the largest unowned brand name in the world. And we've always kind of taken that to heart, because it's not just a place, it's an idea, and it's what everybody dreams about. And it's something we've even seen more so during this crisis, because we have the luxury of being able to write about the Caribbean, and every day it's like this little breath of fresh air in your Gmail, because you can think about a place where you really wish you were, regardless of what's going on.
Yeah, agree. And it's certainly aspirational in every way, shape, and form. And one of the things that I find particularly interesting about the Caribbean is its diversity. And yet you say, come on, Eric, it's white sand, it's the palm trees, the sun, the water. How diverse can it be? And yet when you dig into it, haven't you found that with each one of these nations, with each one of these territories, there's a lot of diversity down there?
It's a remarkable amount of diversity, whether it's geological, whether the way the islands are formed, the people in every island are different, the food is different, the music, culture, and it really is an entire little world with so many different destinations that have so many different qualities, and that's why that's what makes it fun for us. I mean, if it were a really homogenous place, we couldn't do what we're doing.
What's the Caribbean like now? If I were able to get on a plane right now and go to, say, you name it, Aruba, and I step off the plane, what would I see?
Right now, not much. It's pretty much completely shut down. And that depends on the specific characteristics of every kind of lockdown. What you have in the U.S. is sort of you can leave for certain essential needs, like going to the bank or going to the grocery store. Some islands you can't even leave your house for groceries.
What are you hearing from the governments, just in general, about timeline? I mean, here we are, we're all here, it's mid-May, it's the beginning of May, it's the end of May, it's the mid-June. We're hearing all these timelines here in the United States. What are they saying down there?
The biggest thing you hear is that it depends on the major source markets, right? So it depends on what's happening in the US, what's happening in Canada, and the UK. Those are the three primary markets that send tourists to the Caribbean. So that's a big part of it. Having said that, a lot of destinations are starting to prepare plans for when they think things are going to relaunch. And from what we hear, that's from 60 to 90 days from now. That's sort of when they're penciling in. But again, it's going to depend on people getting on planes again.
Well, I was going to say, in normal circumstances, these Caribbean islands, they live and die by the air service to begin with. Some of which is seasonal, some of which is year-round, some of which is pulled at the last minute, added at the last minute. I mean, it's all dependent upon air. A lot of it is dependent on air. And cruise, of course, that's a whole other conversation. But by air, even when these countries are ready to open and it's safe to open, we're back to the airlines, aren't we?
Yeah, and so you're going to see islands that have the best airlift are going to be the ones that airlines start relaunching those routes. The other interesting thing that I heard from a hotelier this morning actually was that high-rise hotels are going to be in the Caribbean are going to be the ones that struggle the most. The larger, big mega resorts are going to struggle because people don't want to be around a bunch of other people. If you have to get in an elevator, he said those hotels are going to lose half the business in the short term, which is interesting. The good thing about the Caribbean is you do have a lot of resorts that you can walk right up to your room. So that was an interesting thing I heard, and I think it makes a lot of sense, at least in the short term, until we get things under control. Part of the industry that's going to rebound the quickest is villas and private aviation, and that those are going to be there because if you can fly on your own plane or fly on there are a lot of private airlines in the Caribbean that do scheduled service. So you might have 6-10 people on the flight, and go and drive right to a villa and have someone stock the villa. That's a lot easier to relaunch than a large hotel.
Well, that brings our final question of the day, which you and I could do this for hours on end because we love the gig. Are there going to be deals to be had? I mean, I know it sounds like how can we even be talking about money at a time like this? Well, let's face it, it's all about money, and we're not going to have a lot of it, but we're still going to have the desire to travel.
For sure. I think I wouldn't have said that like a month ago, but even in the last 7 or 10 days, now you're starting to see hotels coming out with deals on booking travel now and advertising the fall and the winter and trying to get business. And I think from what I hear, people are already starting to book trips down the road, in the summer to a much lesser extent, but the winter season seems to be active.
But aren't they going to have to really step up their game, certainly from an individual and from a country, in terms of these are the things we're doing about wiping down these surfaces and disinfecting these things, because safety will be and health will be the number one concern of everybody visiting, wouldn't you say? Not just visiting, but of the population itself, right?
For sure. And I think that's why you see that's the messaging that's coming out from the big hotel companies. And I do think that the governments in the Caribbean, which are they're obviously very tourism focused, they're already Jamaica, for example, is doing training of tourism workers digitally to get them ready. Most of the islands are launching task forces to make sure that they're ready, that they can flip that switch on. It's not going to be easy, but I do see that a lot of these governments and destinations are working already and planning, which is good, which is refreshing to see, and gives you hope for a quicker comeback.
Yeah, agreed. Well, this is perfect. Will you come back and share the latest and greatest from the Caribbean here sometime soon?
For sure.
What a cool gig. I love the fact what a cool gig. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate that, Alex. And speaking of cool gigs and well, I'm not sure if it's a gig. And furthermore, I'm not sure. I'm going to play this for you. I'd like you to meet Jimmy One Place. And, well, he has a lot of city pride for a particular place in this country. So take a look.
This video is about Pittsburgh, the city of three rivers. It's mighty, beautiful. It's Pittsburgh. My guess is if you weren't born here or didn't go to school here, you probably have no idea what's going on here. Well, tighten up, Buttercup. It's a classic American destination born from steel, honest work, and a little bit of attitude. Check that, a lot of attitude. It's mighty, welcoming, surprising. For heaven's sakes, the Bergs got such an ego, they put coleslaw and french fries right on their sandwiches. Take that, Detroit. Yeah, I said it. Roam around Pittsburgh's wide open spaces, filled with natural light and a clean, walkable downtown. Yeah, you won't have to be wiping gum off the bottom of your Jimmy Choos like you have to do in Cleveland. I said it. Hold up a second. Do you like watching this video? Well, if so, say so, and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get back to it. Pittsburgh. Throw calorie caution to the wind and relax with friends at more than 200 restaurants downtown. If you want pierogies stuffed with ice cream, they'll probably do that too, because it's Pittsburgh. Oh, I'm just getting started. Pipe down, Chicago. Pittsburgh's got culture, museums, galleries, and 9 theaters in 14 blocks. They got people dancing and singing on stage right now, probably hopped up on how great Pittsburgh is, which is just a 90-minute flight from 60% of America's population. Or if you live in one of the 9 surrounding states, D.C. or Canada, why don't you borrow your brother-in-law's really nice car when he's not looking, drive 6 hours and call him from the hotel and tell him you'll be back in 3 days after your awesome trip to Pittsburgh, okay? Oh, and you don't even need to pack, because clothing purchases are sales tax-free every day. You've got the power to take the bull by the horns. So I'll see you and your horns in the mighty, beautiful Pittsburgh. I'm getting a coffee.
I don't know what that was. Looks like somebody got an iStock account, a lot of time on their hands, very passionate about Pittsburgh. Well, what can I say? I love Pittsburgh. It's a great town. I have been numerous times. Maybe you want to consider that. Obviously, I think that piece was made prior to the situation we're going through, but nevertheless, Pittsburgh will figure out how to accommodate you on your next visit there. So definitely take a look at it. I hope we don't see any more videos from that guy. I'm not sure what the deal is. All right, that's about it here for the week. Let's review the 10-5-1 real quick. We covered Happy Valley, Pennsylvania, Cozumel. We went down there. We talked about the Caribbean. Obviously, the United States, Washington, D.C., Salem, Massachusetts, Niagara Falls, the Jersey Shore, Stanton, Virginia, and last but certainly not least, Pittsburgh. There are the tips as well. And my parting thought, of course, being, well, I mean, let's be grateful. Let's do that. Tomorrow is Cinco de Mayo. If you want to make salsa at the house, if you need me, I will be in my garden, most likely, or pickling something or making my own mayonnaise. As a friend of mine pointed out, she believes I'm turning into the pioneer woman. I think she's probably right. So, I need a denim full-length apron for my garden. That's what I'm working with. May the 4th be with you. Help us, COVID-19 vaccine. You're our only hope. I don't know why I think that's funny. It's so dumb. Well, thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. Thanks to the travel team. Thanks to my guests as well for being here. Don't forget, tomorrow at 4 o'clock and every day at 4 o'clock, we have a new video on YouTube. Have a terrific week. We'll talk to you soon. Peace out. May the 4th be with you. Please help me, coronavirus. Please. It's so stupid. I wonder how long it took to make that dumb thing. Really? That's what we spent our time doing?
Hey guys, this channel is a celebration of all things travel, so hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment or question, share this video, like it, rate it, whatever. Believe me, it all helps. Thanks for watching.